Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio, and it is in fact the final hour of the show, all right. And although it's a final hour, don't worry because I'm gonna be here tomorrow as well, same place, same time, same frequency, to make sure I keep you informed about the very latest that happens all over the world, all right. And what better way is that for you to stay informed about all of this than tuning into Relax Radio? So make sure to actually text me or call me on 078 share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would love to hear. I would definitely love to hear all of it. But also make sure to go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, because you can find out our videos when it happens and where it happens right there on YouTube. It's super easy to access as well, so please do go ahead and do that. And don't forget to download the app, because that is super easy. All you need to do is just head on over to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, type in Relax Radio on the search bar, and download the app. It's super simple and super easy, and it's there for your convenience as well, so go ahead and do that. Now, right now, we're going to be talking about how ministers have actually urged firms to invest in UK-based workers, and why exactly this is happening. Okay, so if you want to find out the answers to all of that, feel free to stay tuned to Relax Radio to the sunrise, and I will make sure that I keep you informed about all of that right here on Relax Radio. Okay, and now let's actually head into our conversation, because we need to talk about why exactly this is happening. Why have ministers urged firms to invest in UK-based workers and not, workers from abroad? All right. Now, employers have actually been told to invest in UK-based workers rather than relying on labor from abroad, as supermarkets and suppliers struggle to contend with the chronic shortage of lorry drivers. Right now, obviously, we spoke about this last week as well. The reason there is such a huge shortage is A, because of Brexit, but also B, because of the pandemic, right? And obviously, the post-Brexit immigration rules have actually changed a lot of things and made it very, very hard for a lot of these, companies that, that basically had workers from the EU. They basically had a shortage of staff, right? And obviously, you can invest, or you can, recruit UK-based workers, but the thing is, most UK-based workers aren't willing to work these jobs, because a lot of these jobs were in fact low-paid roles in logistics and also in the food industry. Right. And the truth of the matter is, even though the salaries have been increased, there's not a lot of UK workers that are willing to work these jobs. Right now, also because, so many people have had to move back to their, specific EU countries because of these new rules, that has actually led to a huge supply shortage. Right. And in addition, the pandemic that was there as well has actually made it very hard for these companies, for these industries to function. Right now, we were talking about this earlier, about how there were shortages across like a lot of restaurants in the United Kingdom, because we had McDonald's that basically ran out of milkshakes, and Nando's had to close down 50 of their shops because there was a shortage of chicken. All right, and I know it sounds funny, like I mean, when you literally hear it, it actually genuinely sounds funny, right? But the thing is, it's not really a joke anymore, because this could potentially lead to Christmas being cancelled because of the huge demand that a lot of these companies get during Christmas, right? Because we all know, when it comes to Christmas, we love to spend so much of money during Christmas, right? It's pretty much one of those seasons where people spend the most amount of money. But if all these firms across the United Kingdom actually cannot keep up with the supply and provide that supply, then it's going to be very hard for them, right? Because already there is, about 100,000 shortage of drivers and about 90,000 shortage of other job roles in these industries, right? Now, the business secretary Kwasi Kwarteng has actually written to business leaders on Friday and basically said, foreign labor only offered a short-term temporary solution. Right now, this was after industry groups like Logistics UK and the British Retail Consortium called on the department to provide temporary UK visas to EU truck drivers, right? And they're just asking it temporarily. So yeah, I think they kind of understand that this is in fact a short-term temporary solution. It's just until they can get everything in order, because at this point of time, it's very, very hard for them to actually figure out what is for them to figure out a solution to this overnight. All right, and they actually said that the lack of drivers was increasingly putting unsustainable pressure on retailers and their supply chains as well. Okay, so all of this, huge demand is actually putting a lot of pressure, and it's unsustainable as well because there's only so much you can do, right? And the government's furlough scheme is actually due to end on the 30th of September, and this in addition has also caused or rather raised concerns about a subsequent rise in unemployment, right? Now we know that our economy was going through a recession, and it wasn't just our economy, but it was in fact a lot of other economies as well. All over the world there has been a recession, right? And right now we're seeing our economy in the stages of expansion. We're basically seeing, jobs coming up, increase in pay, and all of that. But we're not having enough people to fill these roles, right? So then the truth of the matter is you're not going to move power, you're not going to move past that point of recession. You're not going to, you're not going to be able to expand your economy if you don't have enough people to fulfill those job roles, right? Because we're basically going to be stuck at a standstill. So that is essentially what's going to happen, right? Now you can actually find out more, but right now we're actually going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to discuss this further. But until then, make sure you stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to the show. It is your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and I am super excited to be here. All right, we're currently talking about how a lot of ministers across the United Kingdom are in fact urging these firms to invest in UK-based workers. Right, so let's get into why exactly that isn't happening. What's the whole pros and cons with that. We're going to be talking about all of that, so make sure to stay tuned. But before we actually get into that conversation, I want to very quickly tell you that you can in fact get in touch with me. All right, all you need to do is just text me or call me on 078-52473-473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, and let me know what you're thinking. All right, and also while you're at it, you can go like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about all of these things. Okay, and don't forget to download our app either, because that's available completely for free on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about all of these things. So make sure to go do that and make sure to keep yourself updated and informed, and make sure you listen into the conversation wherever it is that you are in the world as well. Okay, and now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're going to be talking about, like I said, how ministers are in fact urging firms to actually, invest in workers from the United Kingdom. Okay, so going back to our conversation, a lot, like I said, there was this letter that was written by Kwasi Kwarteng, where she, where it was basically where they asked basically employers, or employees were urged to help the many UK-based workers who now face an uncertain future and need to find new employment opportunities, right? So in the letter that is addressed to Logistics UK and the BRC, Kwasi Kwarteng actually wrote, "I'm sure you would agree on the importance of utilizing the strength of our domestic workforce and how our migration policies need to be considered alongside our strategies to ensure UK-based workers," right? And that UK-based workers are also able to secure decent employment opportunities. Okay. Now, COVID-related disruption has actually brought driver and vehicle standards agency testing centers to a standstill. And that has also created a huge backlog of drivers waiting to take their HGV test. Okay, a review of the shortage occupations list, which basically sets out jobs for which overseas workers can apply for visas, is actually not due until next year. But the thing is, we can't afford to wait until next year we can't actually afford to wait until next year until we see these lists, until we can allow these workers to apply for visa. Because the truth is, even right now, we're going through a shortage, right? Even right now, if we don't try and solve the shortage, what that could possibly mean is that Christmas could be cancelled. Okay, and because of that, because of that, we can't actually keep waiting until next year until this is released. Okay, now HGV drivers are actually not included on the list, but there is in fact a lot of pressure from supermarkets to actually include them to help ease this whole shortfall while no UK drivers are being trained. Okay, now Home Office officials are said to be blocking the review being brought forward amid concerns it could lead to other sectors demanding inclusion. All right, so the obvious reason as to why they don't want to do this is because they feel like, look, you know what, if we let one sector go ahead and get migrant workers, what's going to happen is now all other sectors are going to ask for inclusion as well, and that is definitely not something they can afford at this point of time, right? At least that seems to be the basis behind why they are blocking this review. Okay, a source actually told that it has been floated and it seems like the obvious solution, but there's been a lot of pushback from the Home Office. Okay, now government spokesperson actually said that they have a highly resilient food supply chain and well-established ways of working with the food sector to actually address food supply chain disruptions. Okay, so they recently actually announced a package of measures to help tackle the HGV driver shortage, and this also includes plans to actually streamline the process for new drivers to gain their HGV license and to increase the number of driving tests that are able to be conducted. All right. Now, most of the solutions that are likely to be driven by the industry, with progress already being made in testing and hiring, are also a very big push towards improving pay, right? Working conditions and even diversity, because this is what we're going to be talking about next, about improving pay, working conditions, and diversity, because that also happens to be a big problem, not just here in the United Kingdom, but all over the world as well, right? Last year, or year before, I'm not too sure because I can't exactly recall, but when we had trade union workers essentially asking Jeff Bezos to pay them better salaries, to give them better working conditions, and he was being absolutely terrible about it. He's someone who can definitely afford better working conditions, right? He's a billionaire and he literally went to space. So again, we're going to be talking about all of that, so make sure to stay tuned, because right now we're going to be heading into a small break, and after that we will be back to discuss this further. So until then, make sure you stay tuned.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow.